Welcome back, Fellowship family, to this week's episode of the Deeper Podcast. Once again, we have a special, fun episode because we are in Church Reimagined Week 2. As always, I'm your host, Doug Congdon, joined by regular co-host Brian Paltrius.
Are you saying that most of our episodes aren't fun?
No, they're deep.
Oh, okay.
They're because deep. Of the Deeper Podcast.
These are fun.
That was fast. Funner podcasts.
Good. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, really quick on my feet. We got two pastors with us here. We have Dave Rizer from Northland. What's up, Dave?
What's up?
And we have back in the studio, the prodigal son returns.
That he helped create.
Wow.
The studio that he helped build and the podcast that he helped run and start. Cody, middle name guess?
Frederick
Lekan. Not even close. What's your middle name, Cody?
Thomas.
Cody Thomas. Classic, run of the mill, just like
CTL, Christ the Lord.
Christ.
Whoa. I have not put that together. I love it.
Cody from Rolling Hills. Cody, what's your title at Rolling Hills?
Associate and family pastor.
Associate and family pastor.
Yep.
Because associate family pastor would sound like there's a different family pastor and you're just the associate family pastor. Associate and family pastor. Great. Code, welcome back, man.
Good to be back.
Yeah,
Love
good.
it.
Okay, so give us a real quick overview for people who maybe are newer to the church or don't know who you guys are. How long have you been working at your particular church, Dave? Why don't you lead us off?
Yeah, I've been there at Northland Christian Church for the last 9 years.
9.
Yeah.
9.
Working on a solid 10. That would be so great to get to 10.
A random, not important follow-up question. Did you have a sabbatical at 7?
I did have a sabbatical at 7.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
great. Just checking. Okay, Cody, what do you got?
I've been at Rolling Hills for about 18 months now.
18 months.
On staff.
So we're still in the stage where we use like the baby, like the months instead of the years,
Yes.
like you're describing a baby. I love
You're
that.
currently walking right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
Walking
staff.
and just getting into like having an attitude and a personality.
There you
You're
go.
just finally letting that shine. Great.
Finally letting it out.
Okay, so let's see. Rolling Hills came into this. So we're in year 2 of what we're calling Church Reimagined, but I think we're still on.
We said 5 or 6.
We said 5 or 6 with the OGs. So 5 or 6 of doing this together. Were you a part of Rolling Hills coming on and joining? Do you know kind of a little bit about the history of why they came on board?
Matt was at the table before, like in year whatever that was of Let's Talk.
Let's Talk, yeah. Back in the day.
It did not fit with where they were going at the time, and so last year was the first year Rolling Hills officially joined.
Nice.
And so we're in year 2 of being at the table and going all in together.
Great. Love it. What about you guys, Dave?
Yeah, me too. I would say the same thing. So last year was the first year for us. In reality, I knew about it in the years prior, and then it just never worked out. And then one year I remember thinking, like, I think we're doing this, but I don't know for sure. I'm getting emails, so...
They just added you to the list.
You know what? Yeah, we're doing this.
Are you saying it's not a well-oiled machine?
I mean, it happens with a lot of prayer and...
I don't know that we want to get into
discussions,
the specificities of the
we're
behind-the-scenes
just having
planning and
fun.
communication. Yeah. So we're going to do what we did with the guys last week, which is we're going to hit you up with some quick questions of the day.
Let's go.
QQOTD. I love it. I love doing it with new people who have no idea what's happening. That's where the drop goes.
Oh,
That's where the drop goes. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to... Cody didn't even know.
I was like, what are you doing? Did you just freeze? Like, what happened?
Okay, here we go. Quick questions. You can answer any order. Go first.
Are we
Doesn't
going
matter.
like who goes first? Like fastest?
No. Oh, you could race.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's fine.
I'm not
Whatever.
quick off the cuff, but like,
Okay.
we could try.
Yeah.
All right.
What translation of the Bible do you use when you're preaching?
2011 NIV.
This guy's even got the correct.
Yeah, I prefer the
Release.
84. We're using 2011.
Yeah.
Would probably switch across the way. So, keep going.
Okay.
It sounds like you're talking about the Baptist Faith and Message with those year things.
You got to know what you know, okay?
I preach out of the NIV 2011 because that's what's in the backs of all of the seats.
Okay.
My personal favorite is NASB 2020.
Wow.
I didn't know there were years associated
Love it.
with
I
this.
Are you
thought-
sure it's a
didn't know that
2020?
people-
It's a 2020?
NASB 2020.
I didn't know they had a 2020.
I didn't know that
Yeah,
people
you got
knew
COVID
the
edition.
years.
You got to get over the 95. So
Yeah,
the
yeah, there's a
2020
lot
is
of people-
far better than the 95.
Like
Yeah,
less
I can get
wooden,
there.
far better, or
Both less wooden and a little more accurate. So
Okay.
they hit up a bunch of the original text in a better.
I mean, they were
grammar.
already. It was already so accurate. Okay,
Yeah.
so do they match what you read at home? Like in your personal devotional study, do you read the same ones? Okay, what do you use, Dave?
No, so I actually try to read through the Bible in a different version just every time. So that's one of the things I'll start.
Cool.
When I finish up a version, I'll go to another version and start reading it. So
That's cool.
it's just my way of kind of being able to stay fresh when I'm in the
Yeah.
scriptures. Also, when people start talking about one better than the other, I
Yeah.
like to kind of throw down and say, yeah, I read that from cover to cover. What were your thoughts on it? And I just love to have fun. So,
Yeah.
but no, it
Are
actually
you
does
an 8
help
on
me.
the Enneagram by any chance?
Oh,
That's a really good question. Possibly.
okay, possibly.
It's
Okay,
At least a wing.
You're in the ballpark.
okay, I like that.
Maybe I just recognize real. So
Can we get like a fist bump on here? Just
Challengers on the Enneagram. All right, Cody, what about you? Do you use the same thing at home? NASB?
Yeah, I use NASB.
Oh yeah, you preach out of NIV.
but I preach out of NIV.
Yeah. Okay.
I will hit up the CSB every now and then.
Yeah.
That's what I'm currently reading through. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad got me like the preacher's version, so there's like a couple like funeral, wedding stuff
Oh.
in there, and so it's got some extra tidbits, and it's like it lays flat really nice and it's kind of hefty. So like that's usually what I put my message in. I'm gonna show my age. I can't preach from an iPad because I can't trust technology to
Yep.
not
Yeah.
undo
Fritz
what
out.
Fritz out.
how
Dude, I'm
old
with
are
you.
you?
I'm not
So
sure.
you're
Did
in
you just say I'm going to show my
I just want to
age?
say that's not an age thing there. Okay, that's something else. But
that's so good.
yeah, I'm older than you, and I only preach from an iPad.
I can't do it. I can't
No.
trust it. Like,
And Cody worked in tech. I mean, you know tech really well,
I know
and you
tech
still
really
don't
well.
trust
That's
it.
why.
Yeah,
I think
that's
I
why I
preached,
don't
I'm going to say this, Cody, maybe 500 messages on an iPad, and never once have I had an issue.
Not
Wow,
even a
look at
single
that.
time.
Not a
Not like
single
it
time.
jumped to a page out of
You've,
order or
like,
anything.
or it's auto locked on you, and you're like, oh no, now I got to do my
I
face.
mean, but
and
I think to myself, my face, wow, this went from, I wouldn't consider that, like, I'm talking about, like, I now no longer
Have a
can
sermon.
get to a message, and so it's all memory from here on out.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I get text messages sometimes. That's probably the worst thing that happens, and that's when I forget to put on focus.
there was one
Yeah.
time I forgot to put my watch on Do Not Disturb, and I thought I was gonna lose my mind.
Because of how many times it went
yeah,
off?
just like I'm in a group text, and it just didn't, and it's just my watch is just sitting there. It's not lighting up, but it's just sitting there, and it's just too distracting.
Oh man, that's brutal. Okay, I didn't ask this to the first group, but I'm curious out of you guys, do you preach from manuscripts? Do you preach from an outline? Do you preach from general notes?
I do a hybrid. All of my transitions are scripted out, so that way
Love
I
it.
don't miss them, and that they are clearly articulated, so that way I can keep people like
Moving in
my
the flow
attempt
of your-
to keep people like along with me through the journey.
Yeah.
But like any kind of personal stories or any kind of like off the cuff examples, I just leave it as just like a block header. Just
Yeah.
do this
Story about
story about yeah.
XYZ. Okay. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I go manuscript. I write a manuscript, and I always say I want to go thought for thought, not necessarily word for word. So my thought is
Just
like,
like
I'm
your
gonna,
Bible translations. Wow.
That's right. Gonna go there, thought for thought. And so yeah, I do have to do that, because if I don't, I will think about that message if it's an outline or a partial outline all weekend long. But when I'm done on Wednesday,
Yeah.
I send it, sit down, and say I'm good.
That's amazing.
yeah.
So you're done. You try to be done on Wednesday of a preaching week with your message.
Whoa.
That's
That sounds just
awesome.
like you.
All right, shut up. What about you? When are you done generally? Because I'm done. I'm done 3 minutes before I
Friday.
give it. Okay. Okay.
There's
For our
always
services on
room
Sunday.
for growth there.
know,
but we're-
believe
You're
me.
done when you're done.
Yeah, I'm done when the
on
last
Sunday when the
sermon is
last
done.
one's out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're
it's-
going thought for thought, you have the ability to kind of make adjustments, think
Yeah.
about it or whatever. But I just don't stay up late, because there's something in my brain that will check out of every conversation until I've
Yep.
gotten it on paper.
Yeah.
And so if I want to be a present dad, I learned
Yeah.
this, like if I want to be a present dad or even just a leader, I've got to take the big rock, get it out of the way, and then I'm able to do all the other things.
Dude, that's great. I don't know. This is helping me. I'm not sure if our listening audience is gonna be curious and like, oh, that's fun. But for me, I'm like, oh, this is great. Okay. What's one thing you do when you're not in the pulpit that brings you rest and refreshment?
or not at work.
Yeah.
Man, I like taking photos.
Oh,
It's either in nature or like with people, because it's an activity that like the kids can come along for, and
oh, nice.
they've started to get to the age where they can hold the camera with my hand under it.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's
it's
really
been fun
sweet.
to share that with them, as well as just like be able to interact with people and be like, hey, let's go out and go shoot some photos. And
Huh. Okay, cool. I like that.
Do they take photos as well with you? Do they take all those photos?
the kids,
Yeah.
they'll come with me sometimes, but like Charlie has like a kid camera, and so she'll go around with her kid camera.
That's fun.
And she actually gets some pretty decent shots. And I'm like,
Nice.
oh, that was good composition. I don't think you could do that again, but like,
That's great.
Love it.
I mean, she's 6, so
Yeah.
I'll say I go to the gym, so
Yeah. We can tell. Cool.
appreciate that.
dang it, Doug.
And then I'll go backpacking.
Nice.
There's a few other things, but sometimes I just love watching comedy. So
Me too.
It's like my way of checking out, but
Yeah.
still laughing.
That's
Yeah.
great.
I love to laugh. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. I'll have to ask you more about that off air here. Do you have any stories about Joe that would be worth sharing on the podcast with people who are listening?
My first time meeting Joe was a month into coming into Topeka, and he called me up, and I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what FBC was. I didn't have any context for who he was. He just called me and said, hey, would you want to go on a cruise with me?
I did not see that coming.
Whoa.
Okay.
And I said, first off, I'm not
Hi,
quite
my
sure
name's
who
Dave.
this is. And no, you can't have my information
Yeah,
because I'm
spam,
not
spam.
going for this. And it just turned out that somebody dropped out, and he was doing this cruise with a group of pastors. And I just so happened to be in the region and just
goodness.
moved in. And his son, Jack, was on our staff. And so there's somewhat of a connection there.
Okay.
But I had no context for it. And so we then go on the cruise. I decided, let's go on the cruise. Myself, my wife, and found out a lot about Joe.
Yeah, I
Things
bet.
like
I bet.
every night we had to play Farkle, and every single time there was. You guys know this probably.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's probably talked about it at some level. There's some like punishment.
Yeah.
At the end.
Challenge, dare.
And so, there's always something, and we had one every single night. I think Joe and I had to walk through the promenade with all of our scuba diving gear on.
No way.
And so we walked from one end to the next
so good.
with all of the gear on.
That checks out.
I bet there's a lot of good
That
pictures
checks
of
out.
that one.
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay, so was the cruise like a Paul's Journey cruise, or just like we're going to the
No,
Caribbean
it was-
cruise?
It was like, let's go to the Caribbean.
Oh, okay.
Somebody was and I don't know how these connections happen, but they were wanting to
It was an
help
organization.
help Joe help pastors and
Oh,
find
nice.
some just a retreat. And he had always said that cruises were one of his favorite things, to just step away and be in a retreat, and would love to organize something with some pastors. And so it was
so fun.
amazing. It was like 5 days. We get to spend all of our time with our wives, and then at night we came together and just
So
spent time and hung
cool.
out. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Can we talk about that organization, and maybe let's become better partners with them? Okay, Code Man, what about you? I mean, you obviously worked here for
I did work here for a
portion
minute.
of time. So
Man, I think the one that comes to mind is the Bethlehem experience the first year.
okay,
And seeing Joe run around as like the tour guide, and then like, man, I love him, but like his ADD moments where he's like running around and doing these things and setting up the refreshment table for all the volunteers,
Yeah.
and then running back to go run a tour, and then just like running around like the sports coach, like, you're doing a great job, and just like the pats on the back as he's just like running around in his element.
yes,
That's just one of the memories that I've got,
that's
like,
great.
of Joe.
And that
It's just-
first year, he was also like making all the bread.
Yes,
you know?
because
Yeah.
I was going to talk about the bread, because
Yeah.
he's got this recipe, this family recipe thing, and he's going through making all of the bread and just like, hey, you gotta try this bread,
Yeah,
and just like running
so
around, and
true.
I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
this is fun. And
Yeah.
I mean, we're learning. We didn't know anything. Like,
Yeah.
we're just trying to figure this out, and like just that first year, Joe was like setting the bar and setting the like tenure of everything was just like,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah, that was great.
You know, people like to be the first to know,
Yeah.
so we should let them
Go
know.
ahead,
Bethlehem
yeah.
experience back in 2026.
It's back, baby.
yeah.
This
Yeah.
year.
It is. Yeah, it's
Took a
coming
year
back.
off.
It's
This
coming
is
back this year.
2026. Yep.
Took a year off.
I don't know what day of the week it is right now,
Yeah.
so I'm just gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm here.
We're
All right.
ramping up already.
We will.
Yeah.
You'll hear more about it.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are you learning from the other pastors in your life? Kind of a big one. whether it's somebody at your church that you're working with or this group?
Well, I think one of the things that stands out to me is the need to be around others who are ahead and even kind of behind and then right there with you. And there's something about just being around guys who have went through something, they're currently in something, or they're about to go through something, that you just start to say, man, there's something about that brings I would say wisdom to the conversation and even into my own heart and soul for ministry, being around other pastors. So yeah, that'd be it.
That's great. Yeah, thanks.
Man, I think for me, it's like the heart of this whole Church Reimagined thing is just like we're all part of the church, the capital C church, and just that kingdom mentality of like, this is what we do. We serve together. We're in the trenches together. And like Wyatt here at Fellowship has been huge for that. I've been able to call him up several times. I'm like, dude, I need this really obscure thing. You got one? He's like, yeah, I got one. Come grab it. And like, we've been able to make things happen that like couldn't get on Amazon fast enough or in between budget seasons. And just like the ability to do things together has been huge.
Oh, that's great. That's good to hear. Shout out, Wyatt. What's up? So this year, just going to segue off of that question to what we're talking about this year, questions Jesus asked. So you got a list probably of 6 to 8, however many questions, and then you got to choose which ones you're going to talk about. Which one of those questions maybe stood out to you as the one you were most excited to talk about, either because you loved the passage or because you thought your congregation maybe needed to hear it?
The do you want to be healed question. When we're sitting down as a teaching team looking at who wants what passage, and I'm like, man, going through the wall, pushing through and getting to the other side has been so huge in my like discipleship journey that I'm like, I want to help other people see that. And so I was like, yeah, I'll sign me up for that passage.
Whoa,
it was a big heavy lift, but it was one of the ones where I'm like, hey, I've been through this and I want other people to come and experience like what life is like through the wall and getting through that barrier of like, man, it sucks working through some of that stuff. But like once you get through and you have the true freedom and getting to experience Jesus on the other side, man, that's a game changer.
Okay, this is so interesting. I love it. So we asked a question last week, and that was Tim's answer too. And so I kind of asked him how he was handling it. Joe preached on that first week for us. So it's an interesting passage because there's a lot that's not stated there or kind of implied about why Jesus chose to heal him, even though he didn't just say, yes, I do want to be healed, right? He kind of gave an excuse. So when you say pushing through the wall and discipleship, what are you taking kind of the main point of that to be? How are you going to present that?
Like the why it's important or like what the wall is?
Yeah, kind of more what the wall is. Yeah, what's the wall and how's it represented in the story?
Stages of your apprenticeship journey with Jesus. And so it's like interacting with him first and you go through the stages and most people get to the wall. Or you start to have to unpack some of the hard things in your life, or like, I need healing from this, from Jesus, or I need like to forgive this person. And you reach that and you're like, well, I've been baptized. I believe in Jesus. I write the tithe check. I think I'm good enough. But then the freedom and the truly experiencing Jesus as Lord is through the wall and it's through the pain. It's through that. And so when we push through it, there's a greater life on the other side. And so I think sharing that why and like what that's looked like for me and coming out of it and how that's helped me be a better dad, a better apprentice, and a better just person. So
great. That's great. Thank you for explaining.
Yeah, for me, I'd say I love all these questions. I love this about what we're doing with this too, that we're going after questions and to think through the way Jesus responded to people. And it's brilliant to see Jesus in this way. And he's not just giving people answers, which is something I want to do so many times and maybe do too often.
Too much,
especially at home when somebody's asking for something. But learning to ask the right questions it's such a thought-provoking way of doing this. So for me, the question that maybe stands out for me is it easier to say your sins are forgiven or to pick up your mat and walk? Or some variation of that question. And so that one stands out to me. Like even the way that he framed that to say, which is easier?
Yeah.
And when you think about that, for us, we would say, well, easier. It's really easy for us to talk about forgiveness, and it's really easy for us to tell people your sins are forgiven. But the one who's saying that, Jesus, would say it's not that easy. it required so much more.
Mm-hmm.
And while immediately we want the healing or we want something to kind of get fixed in our life, the healing that comes through Jesus going to the cross, Jesus kind of being who exactly he is for us, it comes at a cost. And so in that particular situation, it's a fun story. It's one that you kind of lean into, and you're right there. It's also just kind of fun because the makeup of that is a group of guys who are literally trying to get their buddy to Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mark chapter 1, Luke chapter 5, they have the ability to do something. They don't know what it is. So they try going to the front of the house. They can't get in. And then they're willing to tear off the roof to make it to Jesus. And I've got this like mental kind of thought when they get to that point where they're just saying to one another what guys say. It's like, whatever it takes, whatever it takes. And so for Jesus to get into that moment and then look to the friends and then look to those who are questioning and say, what do you think's easier here? It's just a question I love to wrestle with.
That's awesome. Okay, what weeks are you guys doing those in the series? So if people are like, I'm going to go and check out that sermon. Do you know, Dave, already when you're doing that one?
Yeah, that'll be first week.
First week. Okay,
Yep.
great.
Second week.
Okay, perfect.
That's great.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Thanks for sharing those. We're going to close our time together by just having an open moment where you can share with people who are listening. Maybe people from your church will tune in because they see your face on their YouTube algorithm when it pops up.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
But
what's up, church?
Yeah. But for our people who are listening and want to take a moment and just pray for your churches, in that hopefully right after they listen to this, what would you say they can be praying for?
Man, we are in the middle of a building project that
Heyo.
has gone differently than how we originally anticipated.
Okay.
So we originally were thinking of like expanding the worship center. Well, laws and regulations, there's a sewer line right behind our building that we can't build towards. So the goal has changed to a new building, which changes the scope of everything dramatically.
Whoa.
And so we're trying to figure out what that looks like and how to go forward with that, because that was like the original thing was one bit, and now we're doing something completely different, but it's all in the same vein. And so just for wisdom, discernment, and
Absolutely.
how to go forward with that.
Wow. Okay. When did the switch have to happen? Was that in the last couple months, or was it a while? Yeah. Oh.
It's really recent.
Okay. Dang. Sorry.
It was after all of our capital campaigns and fundraising. So of course, when the architect came back and was like, "Hey, I got some news for you," we're like,
goodness.
"Okay, here we go."
Buckle up.
Here
It'll
we
be
go.
interesting to see what God does with that, because that does seem like just a really big, stinky obstacle right in the way. So, okay. Pray for that.
As Matt would say, he's ready to be on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, we're in it. So here we go.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Cody.
No, that's great. I think for us, it'd be really good to have people praying for just the opportunities for people to have, I'd say, intentional conversations around discipleship and growth. We have a lot of people showing up to our church who are coming for the very first time. And I
That's
love
awesome.
that about our church.
Yeah.
I love what's happening there. And I really do. We've been thinking and processing through how do we help them take more and more steps towards Jesus, and how do we make it so it's possible for people who never have been in a church to understand and really be able to feel confident in that. And so I guess, at some level, we're just praying that God would raise up people to help us in that, and then that there'd be opportunities ahead. That'd be something I would be thinking about.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Good to hear. And also, it's like a little more background info about Northland and who's coming there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you're listening, church, encourage you when you stop listening to this to pray, to lift up Rolling Hills and to lift up Northland and pray for those prayer requests there. And I just want to say thank you. Thanks for not only being a part of Church Reimagine, but for taking the time to come, share a little bit, be vulnerable, and also laugh.
We love that.
Really enjoyed
Good.
it.
It's been real good.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. And we will catch you all in a second here. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed listening to that interview as much as we enjoyed recording them and getting to know those pastors better. We are in this second half of the podcast going to pick up where we left off last week, and that is we are in week 12 of The Greatest Story. We're switching things up a little bit this week. Brian is enjoying a spring break trip with his son and some other fathers and sons, which is sweet. We get to have Amy Weatherford in the studio.
Who is not enjoying spring break this week.
I say, hopefully you're enjoying the warm weather at least.
Yeah. The last couple days.
Okay. Yes. Right. The beginning was rough, but it's so gorgeous today.
But I'm glad to be here.
Yes. Good. And we are going to talk through week 12, The Greatest Story, and we're picking up in Joshua. And again, for those people who have been listening to the podcast, basically this entire section is the cutting room floor. Nice. So we're picking up, and we left off last week at the end of Exodus. We're picking up at the beginning of Joshua. And that doesn't really make sense to a lot of people. We're missing some books in there. What are we missing?
We are missing Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy.
You know so much about the Bible, but I feel like in that moment you just froze, just for that half second.
I just wanted to make sure I didn't mix up any words.
Yeah. Okay, so Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Why was it okay for us to kind of skip those for daily devotional for the story?
Because we had to get in 52 stories
in
a year. And Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, a lot of that is repetition. Yes. And as one generation is ending their time on earth, a new generation is rising up. And so it's just reminding them of the rules, the laws, the things that they need to know before they go into the land.
Especially Deuteronomy. You're right. Deuteronomy feels like a ton of repeat, especially if you've just finished Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. It's like, okay, we heard a lot of this, but they do. Why do they repeat it, Amy? Because that generation's dying, the new generation's
and because we are people that need to hear things over and over and over.
We're forgetful. So, we are skipping through some of that stuff and picking up in Joshua. And so we do Joshua 1 through 6 this week, which is just, a small portion. Again, we have to be choosy in these stories. And so this is the only part of the Joshua story we read. We'll maybe just sum up the rest of the book at the end of this. But tell me, when you get to Joshua here, Joshua 1, what stands out to you about the text? What do you love about either the character or the book here that we're talking about?
I like Joshua because it's a word that actually is familiar to us as a title. No, it's a fresh start. We've seen all this disobedience. We've seen just the cycle of things, and Moses has led well, but his time is done. He has passed the torch to this young man who we already now is an older man, but we've already seen his faithfulness. He and Caleb were the two that did not complain. They said, yes, let's go into the land. And everybody else is like, no, let's go back to Egypt. Yep. And so you know somebody who is faithful. You've seen him being raised up, and it's kind of fun. You're starting at the very beginning of Joshua, and here is God giving him his commission. Now you're going in and doing this. Yeah,
I do love that it's kind of like leadership from within. You know the guy, you trust the guy, and he's already kind of been delegated responsibilities from Moses to be a leader. Now, so Joshua 1 is obviously famous for the section of verses 8, 9 in that area. I mean, it's on my kid's wall. It was above our kitchen table for a while. Why do we love this so much, and why do you think it was so important for the people at the time? Why was it contextually and time sensitive? Why was it important for them to remember that? Well, so tell them what it is first, I guess,
Okay, so what is the law? I mean, we know that we got the 10 Commandments, but we think, they just got, a tablet with 10 rules. Well, no, God is giving them, which is why Leviticus and Numbers and Deuteronomy, it's all of God's written law that he has given them in everything from how to handle mildew to relationships to all the things.
Accidentally killing your neighbor's ox.
Yeah, I mean,
for sure.
Just anything and everything pertaining to life in a way that is obedient to what God has planned and that will go well for you. And so that's his first thing. They're about to go into a land where there are people who have different belief systems. They have different ways of life that are going to be in opposition of God. And he's hey, before you go in there, keep these things on you and don't walk from them. Don't, not to the left or to the right.
Whatever. We
need to know these words.
Yeah.
But then also trust me. Like, don't be shocked by what I do. Don't be like afraid. Like I'm going to get you where you need to be. Just trust me, trust my words and my laws, and then we're going to do well.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's that phrase, have I not commanded you? Well, the phrase is be strong and courageous, be strong and very courageous. Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? And then the chapter ends with be strong and courageous. So it's an extremely repetitive command. And it makes me think, when I'm reading it, always makes me think, okay, I've seen Joshua as kind of a bold, courageous dude already. Like, he was one of the 2 spies, like you said, who came back and was like, we can do this. I trust God. But like, was he scared at this point? Why would he need to hear this message 4 times, 3 times from the Lord and 1 time from the other Israelites? I'm always like, oh, I wonder if he was like starting to get a little bit scared because the enormity of the task in front of him as a leader. No clue, right? No clue.
No.
Just guessing.
But also,
yeah.
He's going to also, he knows he's leading this group of people that are so quick to forget and to complain.
Yeah,
and
he's seen that. Yeah.
And he also watched somebody that he probably respected and looked up to, Aaron, be easily persuaded to give in to the people with the golden calf and stuff. So, like, who knows? But, like, he has been here for the whole ride of all of this. And so it's like, he knows that God's going to do crazy things. He knows, like, he just doesn't know what to expect when it comes to God's ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, again, when we talk about the themes of the greatest story, the biggest theme that we've hit so far is this idea of God's covenant with Abraham and the raising up of his people. And so through Exodus, we kind of saw the fulfillment of seed, the idea that like the nation of Israel has been called out. That's been, populated. It's a large nation. It got called out. And so it is its own thing. So seed's been done, but we are now getting into the land part of it. So we are getting 2/3. The blessing part kind of, comes and goes the whole time. But we're getting to this important part of finally getting into the land after, that's hundreds of years since God promised it to Abraham. They've been waiting for this land. Okay, so they're on this side of the Jordan, and then they cross. I guess before they cross the Jordan, he sends spies in, and they meet Rahab. And so we have this famous story we grew up hearing about. What do you think of when you think of the story of Rahab?
Well, first I always think of a prostitute, and that didn't mean anything at first. And then I was like, oh.
When you were a kid?
Yeah. Why would you send 2 young men to a prostitute? That just seems like not wise.
Not the wisest decision.
But in that, God also knew her heart. And I'm also, like, one of my favorite parts about this is here is somebody who's not an Israelite. But from the moment everything happened in Egypt, the watching world around has heard of this God of the Israelites. And so she knows.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know him yet, but her heart has, like, through the stories and stuff, she's like, I'm going to help out this God.
Maybe as much confidence as the Israelites that, like, God's going to do what he said he's going to do for them. So she hides them, puts her own life at stake, and then ends up, like, in the lineage of Christ.
Yeah.
So, pretty incredible, her story from being a God-fearing, Gentile before they were, like, necessarily called Gentiles as much, but as part of this. So the spies go back. Joshua says, the Lord's given the land into our hands, and they cross the Jordan. And you said earlier, it's kind of like God repeating some things for the Israelites. Is that your picture of why like they took the ark in and the river parted? Is it so that they could remember the kind of Red Sea?
I don't. Well, like, what's weird is, like, as I started actually, like, studying the word later on for myself, I was like, oh, he did this again. And so ever since, I'm like, Lord, sometimes do you have to, like, hey, I parted the Reed Sea or the Red Sea, whatever, but here is now the Jordan again as, hey, I took you out of Egypt and into this land and you wandered, but now I'm taking you into the land that I've actually promised you. And so once again, he did it. But I also love how he led it. It wasn't with the warriors and all the other, like, it's like it was
himself and the Ark of the Covenant, kind of. Yeah. So I've talked about this before, I think on the podcast or other places, but we get into chapter 4, they've crossed, and then God commands them to do memorial stones and take them, stack them, so that there would be a sign for future generations to remember what the Lord did. And And I mentioned people in my life who do this as a family. And so I'm kind of jumping into the, the intentional at home piece. But they were actually at our house this week. So we were talking about it again, and they mentioned the importance of that to their family. They have something in the middle of their table. It has stones in it, because it kind of looks nice. Do you have something like that where you have like a clear glass vase thing and you have stones in it for like to look nice?
I don't have that in my house, but that's because I'm purging right now. But if you did, it would be amazing. But
anyway, on theirs, they let their kids. They talk about it and they let their kids write, things that God has done that's really cool, and they put them in there, and then once in a while they'll pull them out and read through them. And it's the same principle, right? It is taking this story from Joshua and putting it into common modern context. You're sitting around the table, and sometimes like you said, sometimes we forget what God has done. If we don't write it down or take the time to memorialize it, we'll forget. It'll just kind of shift into
which is a cool concept if you are wanting to do something even with your kids or whatever. I mean, growing up, we heard story after story from our parents about ways God had shown up, like when they were not believers and what God did to draw their hearts or different things. And so we can pass those stories on. I mean, I have multiple times shared stories I've heard that I was not around yet for, but of what God had done, and with nieces, nephews, others. But what if you even sat down as a family and that was an opportunity to even start this now? We're like, hey, this is when I first came to Christ, or here's what God did with this, or whatever. And like, you're putting them on those stones, and then, like you said, like do that as a family activity, and have even your kids share it. And then once in a while, like pull those out. And even if they pull one that wasn't from when they were around, they can be like, oh, but Mom and Dad, this is when you guys told us about this.
Yeah. I love it. I would encourage people to do it. I think it's awesome. And yet I haven't done it yet with my kids. So I'm sitting here thinking maybe we should start this tonight.
Well, and another random one. My mother has always collected little miniatures and little
like figurines?
No, just little items. She has like a miniature thing that was on the wall the whole time we were growing up. Well, she has started making one that has just been her journey with Jesus.
Oh, cool.
And so each little thing, she'll find something that represents something that God used in her life that she walked through, whether it was good or hard or whatever.
Yeah, nice.
That was a huge point in her spiritual journey. And so
cool.
She's constantly being like, I found another thing for my box. Like that represents some part of her walk with Jesus. So
nice.
It could be a rock or cute little things that represent.
Or a cute little figurine that tells your story. That's great. Okay. Okay, so they cross Jordan, and the first kind of city that they have to take is Jericho. Now this is something, if you've grown up in the church and as a kid, you heard this story a lot. You probably sang a song about it.
Joshua about the Battle of Jericho, Jericho.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good one. I liked it.
Brian wasn't even here for this. He always sings.
He does. I'm sure he would have. That song was a vibe, though, for sure.
Yeah.
So tell me about, like, we were talking just a little bit before this, the craziness of what God actually told the Israelites to do. This is the beginning of their huge campaign, right? There's probably a ton of nerves. They come into the most fortified city immediately with these incredible walls, especially for a Canaanite city back then. And God's command to them is so upside down, it seems. So why do you think God did that? Oh, yeah. By the way, tell the command first, just in case. I mean, I'm guessing everybody's read it, but like just some summary of the story. So basically,
religious leaders are going to go around first, and they're going to follow behind them.
That's even more detail than I would have given. Just in general, the 6 days and
do 6 days of walking around the city walls. And they do it how many times? 7 times.
Day, right? Gosh, now you got me thinking. Oh, look, you keep talking.
But so they go around it, and then on the 7th day, when they do their full lap, they blast their trumpets, and then they cheer, and the walls come crumbling down.
Yeah. Okay, I think it says they did it
once every day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Once, and then they did that for 6 days. On the 7th day, they did it 7 times, blew the trumpets, and it fell down.
Yeah.
I mean, what a...
And that would be nice, but then they ran in and killed everybody. But
wow. Okay. Yeah.
But isn't it true though?
Yes, it is true. They did go in and kill everybody.
They didn't just go, the walls are done.
Okay, cool.
Then they were like, So, anyways.
That's a good cutting room floor sound
Thank
there
you.
too.
Well.
Yeah, that's great. So it's just, man, I just remember thinking, if I'm in their shoes, if I'm a warrior for Israel and I have been prepping for this campaign, I'm thinking like, this is on me. I got to do this. I got to train well, got to be strong, got to sleep well the night before, whatever, all that stuff that you're like, I have to be on my best so that I don't die. And God's command to them is such the opposite of, man, you need to be a better disciplined soldier to win. He's like, all you need to do is follow me. Like, I'm going to take care of this in ways that don't make sense to you or the watching world. The people in Jericho probably thought they were ridiculous, right? But like, all you have to do is follow me, and you're going to see great and marvelous things. And so it's like just like the manna was, it's like another sign of like, I need you to trust me. That's the primary thing in all of this, and everything else will fall from that.
What ultimately God always after since the very beginning is just that trust and that intimacy and that relationship. And so it's like, once again, nothing that you can showcase yourself, nothing you can take rights like, oh, well, you did this.
Joshua's such a good commander. Oh my goodness, you should have seen his strategy that he came up with. It was incredible.
It literally just showcased God, and that an almighty God who could do it all on his own like he did is welcoming us in because he's after a relationship, which is so crazy cool.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. And we have this picture, and right before Jericho, right, at the end of 5, Joshua meets the commander of the Lord's army. And I love that question. He asks him, are you for us or are you for our adversaries? And the answer is not, I'm for you. It is, no. This is a you answer, actually. This is how you do things, right?
See, that's where I got it.
Yeah, that's right. He says, no, but I am the commander of the army of the Lord, and now I have come. And so it's, again, this picture that God is not for necessarily the Joshua or his leadership. He is for himself, right? He is going to do what he is going to do and wants to do, and his will is going to win. And I just love that response. No. Are you for us or them? No. I'm not. I'm for God. So it's this picture of putting trust in God, and that God's going to lead them, and he's going to fight the battle for them. He's going to do the hard work. And then we don't read this, but in contrast to this story, their next kind of battle is, I grew up calling it AI. I've since heard of it as IE or whatever. But anyway, the battle of AI, and we have Achan, and he hides stuff, and they go in, and the Israelites lose, right? They get killed. A lot of them do. And it's because there is a lack of obedience, a lack of trust, a lack of following the Lord. And God has a very clear line in the sand of, if you follow me, you will have success. And if you don't, you won't. So it's just an interesting contrast that we get right at the beginning with the first 2 cities and the first 2 conquests. And God is setting the tone for their time in the promised land.
Which we talked about how we didn't like dive into what's going on in Deuteronomy. Yeah. But he literally had the people on 2 hills like, hey, here are the consequences of disobedience. Here are the blessings. And so you said earlier, like, they're getting the land. We've seen how the seed, but the blessings walks hand in hand with obedience. Yep. And so if we're going to walk with the Lord and follow in his ways and keep his word on our hearts, then those things, there is sweet blessing when we are aligned with God's ways. And
dude, segue that. Get into the modern part of that too. So as we talk about like wanting to do intentional at home and available in the world, how do those same principles line up with what we experienced 2026 in Topeka versus,
I mean, it's the same
Canaan?
thing. I feel like, I think a lot of times we grow up thinking, oh, here's this big list of rules and laws and things. And sometimes it's like God's killing the joy or the fun that the world has to offer. But in reality, just like anything else, he's like, no, what I've given you is what's going to actually give you life, and it's going to be fulfilling, and it's actually going to keep you healthy, and it's going to be good for you, and it's for your good. And it seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things are going to be added to you. Like when we really know God's word and we know who he is and we lean into that, it doesn't mean that everything's going to be hunky-dory, everything's going to happen like we want, and God's this magic genie and whatever. But when we are aligned with him and his ways, we know that we are not in a path that's going to be our own choices, and consequences are going to hurt us. Like there's just, that's sin. That's disobedience. There's going to be consequences. And if you don't enjoy that, then don't do those things. And I think even early on in life, I realized by watching other people do stupid things, like, oh, I just saw how my parents reacted when I watched my brother say that or do that. I'm not going to do that. I'll just say it in my head and walk away. And then God and I can work out that later. But I won't but I mean, you see people do. I mean, maybe that's why as number 5, 4 guys, and then me, I watched a lot of stupid things that I was like, I saw that was painful, or I saw that didn't end well. And so I mean, it's just a reality. Like, we want blessing and we want these things, but we want to do it in a way like God bless things that are actually harmful to me. No, like that's not the God we have, because he loves us so much. He always wants what's best for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you think about what it looks like to be available in the world, there's a little bit of tough, when it gets to the conquest especially, there's a little bit of difficulty here. So I think we need to have a short conversation about this, but a lot of issues come up with this idea of genocide, or of God commanding his people to slaughter other people. And first of all, I think it's important. My dad actually did a study with a group of guys that I got to be a part of, a couple years ago now. But it was just reading through all the main passages that deal with this, and trying to decide, did he mean, when he says it, does he actually mean kill all the men, women, and babies and everybody? Does he mean this is typical war language that's used in the ancient Near East and Canaan, or is he just lying, basically? Or did the Israelites just disobey, right? And you can see pretty quickly, so some of it's in Deuteronomy, right? He says, you need to kill everybody, and then he says, but also don't intermarry with them. And it's like, well, how could I intermarry with somebody who's dead? So it's like he uses here, dedicate everything to destruction. Just like I would say, like, KU absolutely destroyed K-State, right? They might have beat them by 20 or 30 or something like that, but obviously they didn't actually destroy them. So that seems to be there is war language used all throughout the conquest that doesn't actually mean that they killed everybody as much as they killed every military might. And because you see later on, obviously there's still people groups from there's still remnants from all these people, like, still spread out around. So I think that's important to push back on. Were you going to say something?
Yeah. Even as you were saying that, like, we also know he just left devastation in Egypt, but yet there were Egyptians who came with, who went, I'm in.
Yeah.
I want to know this God, and I'm going with you guys. It's Rahab and her family that said, no, we believe in this God of yours. Like, we see what he's doing and we want to know him. And then, because ultimately God's heart is that all people would know him and be returned in just that obedience, but in that relationship with him. But he has to eradicate the practices, the lifestyles, the things that will cause his people to stray the wrong way. And so get rid of the practices and the religious beliefs and the different things that he knows will trip up his people.
Yep. And I think so. That's perfect. I give 3 reasons, and you just hit on number 2. 3 reasons why, like, we shouldn't respond the way that some people do when they just call God a maniacal murder person. That's not you know what I mean. The first one is it doesn't seem like if you put the commands in the context of the culture, he's not commanding what it sounds like he commands. Secondly, there is mercy for people who actually choose to come and believe in Yahweh. And then the third part is the actual justice that you want our God to bring to people who are doing the things that the Canaanites were doing. So well known for doing things like child sacrifice, despicable things that God even foresaw in back in Genesis 12, I think, or 15, when he says the wickedness of the Amalekites has not yet come to its full. And so he is patient and waiting for all of this wickedness to build up, and then brings justice through the Israelites. So there's he's a just God. There's also some mercy in there for people who turn to him. And then there's some understanding that we need to bring to the text from the ancient Near Eastern context. And when you add those things in, I think it greatly changes the picture of, if you're just sitting down with a text and you're like, man, this God seems really mean, really angry. Yeah. So, it's interesting to think through that stuff. So all that to say, when you get to this Joshua piece and you look about what does it mean to take the principles of this and be available to the world around me to be used by God, is there anything that you can give people that's like, hey, I would pick out this or think about doing this?
I think for me, one of the things that even conversations with like non-believers or in many years of teaching or doing ministry with youth, like there's just practical reasons why there are rules or things established. And so I think it opened the door a lot of times, even in the public school, to have a conversation with somebody where God told you not to do that. But when you're having a conversation with a sixth grader young man whose behavior is out of control, and you stop and you make them say, hey, why is this behavior harmful for you? And why would following this rule actually be better for you? And then when they start to think through it, they're like, oh yeah. And so I think a lot of times it's an easy in way to then have a conversation about, so just the same, like if you understand why that would actually be healthier for you or for your good, if there is a God who created you in his image because he loved you and wanted to be in relationship with you, but he also wants to use you for unique, cool ways to showcase him and help others know him and be in relationship with him, then he's wanting you to do things that will actually allow you to actually live well and
be used by him
and be used.
Oh, that's such an interesting take. I really like that a lot. The available in the world, kind of like the God's law is the best law, and when you go against it, you experience the natural consequences of it. So yeah, I like the.
And we know God's a God for all people. I mean, even throughout you study the Israelites, he tells them to go, and they don't. So then he either brings them to where the people are, or has it, but. God his heart is for all to know him, and not all will choose him. But it's like one of those things where you're just like, hey, you have a God that's not just for Americans or these people. And it changes your view of, even as, right now we're in the midst of fun, warlike activity all over our world. And you're like, man, there's not even the commander of the Lord's army, that kind of mindset of like, no, I'm here to do the work of the Lord. But like, God is a God that wants to see people turn to him, that he created, and he wants us to live into the fullness of what he created us for. So if we could actually see people that way and speak into that, rather than just like, hey, you're broken, you need to be fixed, but actually speak into who their true identity and why.
Yeah. I like it. That's great. That was a much better answer. I didn't have really anything. So, I think we have a good picture of what it might look like to be available in the world from this. And then we talked about what it might look like to be intentional at home with these same concepts. So, way to go. Way to make Joshua 1-6 into our strategic vision there.
We did not even have to hit the whole circumcision part, which is great.
Chris, that's always good to skip that. Okay, so Amy, why don't you pray for our people who are listening to this and who are going to be here on the weekend, especially as they maybe get into their community group discussions.
Sweet.
Yeah.
God, I just thank you that you are about us being in relationship with you. I thank you for your word so that we can know your character, we can know who you are, and that you truly are the same God from Genesis 1 to the God that we get to spend all eternity in as we get to Revelation. God, you love us and you made us in your image for crazy cool purposes to showcase you and to know you. And so, God, I pray whether we are someone who has walked with you for a long time, whether we are somebody who's just trying to figure this out, as we are intentional and available in our world around us, would we speak purpose and dignity into people's lives, Lord? Would we be doing that with our families, with our roommates, with whatever that home situation, within our community groups? God, you have something far greater for us, and we have a world that wants to divine us by all these other things. And Lord, would we let our identity be in you? And may we walk in obedience, because we want to live fully for the purpose and the good that you have for us. So we love you, Lord. I pray for sweet conversations. I pray for just more opportunities to trust you, to walk alongside you, and to grow in sweeter intimacy and fellowship with you, Lord. We are so thankful that you are long-suffering and you are patient and you dearly, dearly care for us. Thank you for this time. We love you, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Amy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fellowship family, for tuning in to this week's episode of the Deeper Podcast. We'll catch you all next time.